Ahoy! As with every new patch, we have a little bit of information about some skins beforehand, and today's ones are good ones. There's some very good variety in this, and I feel like everyone will at least enjoy one of the skins. We'll begin with what has already been data mined a little bit a while ago, but not really fully, and that is the Cthulhu Toon skin. This one was teased by Hi-Rez directly, and honestly, I think this looks super cool. We can't actually see too much of the main model because we have all these mini Cthulhus in front of it, though they may play a role as well in the skin, because it's a tier 5, so we'll find out how exactly it works. It has this nice, clean, old-school cartoon style that I would say was lately popularized, especially by Cuphead, in the video game scene as well, and I think it looks really nice, especially the ultimate form there in the background. Now, I have a bit of an idea what might be happening in this skin. I'm not quite sure what role the car plays, hopefully it's SMITE car too, but the other parts kind of seem to work together. The 4 Cthulhus in the front are probably the 4 skin versions that he maybe gets through leveling or some other factor in the tier 5. As usual, they'll have different variants as they go through different stages. And then in the ultimate, he'll probably just shed his skin and turn into this giant skeleton version, which would be super cool and also unique insofar that normally his old form doesn't really change the model so much. It mostly makes it bigger and gives it some extra effects, whereas this would be a completely different model. What we can also see around it are the tentacles as well as cacti. I don't know if the cacti will actually show up in his passive effect, but I'm pretty sure the tentacles will. So this is probably the madness effect that other players will see. Would be funny if the cacti were there as well. I am thinking that maybe the Cthulhu car might be used in the dash that he has, but that's a lot of speculation. It might be or it might not be. It might also just be a normal dash animation. Keep in mind that Cthulhu's base model is also very big, so if we're seeing this cartoonish model from the front being used as the base model, that'll still be pretty huge in-game, so that should be pretty funny to look at. And speaking of funny things to look at, there was a tweet from SMITE Game saying, bringing back a fan favorite. Tune into the update show on Wednesday for all the details, and that is the classic or retro Bacchus skin. Old Bacchus has always been a fan favorite so far that some people even happen to have a tattoo of them on their legs, so yeah, he's back. Once again, we'll see his beautiful ugly mug on the battleground. In addition to that, we have multiple skins that have, as usual, been data mined by the wonderful Daredust. As always, these are likely the skins that we'll see in the upcoming bonus balance that will be happening on the 10th of August. For some people, the game's even briefly glitched out and they were already able to see these in-game as well, even though they couldn't access them yet. The first one is Confectionery Capri. This is actually a community skin concept from Jade Rapid that was made, I think, roughly 2 years ago, and that has made it into the game now. The card art is kind of funny because if you look at the bottom, there's actually a small model of the similar Ymir skin, and it's a slightly different scale here. Looking at the front view, we can see some interesting details. So, for example, he has 2 different claws. One is some kind of chocolate claw, while the other one is a ice cream cone with some chocolate bits on it. And if you look at the feet, you notice that they actually are like melted ice cream or melted candy or something. So, pretty funny stuff. There's also a little guy on his back, a little baked whatever guy, I don't know how to explain that, holding a donut that'll wiggle around while he walks around. Here is the side view as well. It doesn't really show us anything else that we haven't already seen. And then here is the back view where we can see his sprinkled candy back. Let's also have a listen to his voice pack.
I think I accidentally used salt instead of sugar.
I like this one is not too squeaky or chibi or something. I think it's a pretty good fit for the skin like this, so I really like it, even though it's not otherwise a skin that I would personally use a lot. The next one I'm sure I'd use a lot, and that is Polar Beast Raven. The name describes the skin very well. He's just Raven as a polar bear. But it looks really cool. I really like the claws with the icy spikes. I really like the overall design, the leather armor, and the fur coat on a polar bear. Get that. Here's the in-game model where the claws are actually a lot more pronounced even. And I think this one will look really cool, especially if it has some icy effects along with the attacks as well. What you can see is that his boots have this snowy effect, and I wonder if he's gonna have some special in-game effect along with that as well. Maybe some like icy blue footsteps or just snow, dust, something going around his feet, because it's very unusual to have this kind of rough pattern somewhere on his skin without an effect with it. Here's his side view. You can see some of his tattoos here. Kinda reminds me of a World of Warcraft NPC actually. And then we have his back view. Nothing new added here really. We can only see that the fur around his head is massive, which kind of hides his polar bear head from the back a little bit, which might be unfortunate if you see him from the back in game, but then again, the camera angle in game is going to be a little bit different anyways. Let's check out the voice pack.
Fortune favors those forces friendly to myself.
This one goes a little bit heavy on the effects in my opinion. I would have expected just a deeper roaring voice and not so much this layered sound, which I don't really think makes sense for the skin, but it is what it is at the same time. It doesn't sound too terrible either. And while we're turning one god into an animal, we're sending an animal god into space, and that is Solar Navigator Sobek. And this skin looks exactly as goofy as you'd expect from the card art. You can't see the model here all too well, just the head in this giant bulb basically, which I don't even know how to explain that, so we're just gonna jump into the in-game model, and here is the front view of that. Interesting enough, he still uses his normal sickle-shaped weapon, so that hasn't really been modified significantly, but we can see that he has technically I guess a mechanical arm, hydraulic arm, which has a hand on it with claws, and his actual hand would be in the glove above it. Also, if you look closely, he's actually missing a leg, so it seems like he's been in quite a few space battles already, and that's what his armor indicates as well. You can see these yellow knobs on his back, but if we look at the side view, those are actually jetpacks. I could imagine that these may be used in his plug in the dash part of it, but at the same time that dash is so quick that it may be hard to even see the effect if they are used. In the back view we can see his jetpacks and mechanical tail a little bit better, and overall I gotta say he almost looks a bit Warhammer-esque as well, which I really like. Now let's play the voice pack.
We've got the perfect plan. Now listen carefully.
Definitely still a lot of Sobek in there, as it should be for a skin like this, so I overall really like this one. That's the info we have for now. More will be coming tomorrow, and as usual I will of course make a video about the new god as well as the patch notes, so if you want to see that, feel free to click the sub button, maybe the bell. And also I will be making a lot of New World content in the upcoming days. I've announced this, I've grinded the beta, and now I'm going to do a lot of that stuff. So don't be surprised if there won't be that many SMITE videos in the near future outside of the patch stuff, because I want to focus on that for a while. If you want to see the New World content, make sure to turn the notifications on. I know how YouTube can be with showing different types of content on a channel that is focused on one game normally, so you might miss them otherwise. With that, thank you very much for watching, and thanks to my patrons for making this video possible. That's That Nick Walker, Zelaria, Zed the Undead, Nevitz Jr., Rawas, Angel, Erix88, Zifaroli, and everyone else you see here.